Hello everyone, welcome back to my team selection video. This is Pras from the FPL Wire and it is Double Gameweek 24. It's finally here, the one we've been talking about, the one caused by weather disruption, which none of us expected. Well, some of us didn't expect because we've used up our triple captainship. Couple of reasons for me doing this early in the week. Number one, the most important one, is because I've made three free transfers already, and I just thought that I should share my plans and why I did them and why I have reached those conclusions. I've got one more free transfer left, and I will talk about that. And the second one is I'm traveling this week for work, back end of the week, so I just thought I should get this done early. So I will talk about my week first, as usual. It was small green arrow, which was basically thanks to Raya and Gabriel. Finally, every week I have to come and talk to you guys about justifying my double Arsenal defense. 16 points finally. I know over the course of the period, it's not like it worked out, but it's nice to get the points. And it's the last one for me from Raya. Probably not for the season because I like him still as an option for a goalkeeper and I can see him being an option again later. But for now, I have said goodbye to him last night. Munoz with an assist, Trent with an assist. So actually the back four worked out really nicely. Bruno didn't do much. It was actually a very, very dire game. It was a difficult game away to Fulham. And as a Man United fan, very happy coming away with a 1-0 win. But from an FPL point of view, nothing of note to talk about. It was a very difficult watch. Not much action. Salah did well. Isak did better. I was talking about if Salah scores one goal, guys, he'll get 8 to 10 points. But Isak will have to get double return. Well, he got a triple return. So he got 13 points. In the end, look, you lost 5 points, right? If you went for Salah instead of Isak. So these things shouldn't matter that much. Palmer, 2 points. Gordon with an assist. Every game I feel like Gordon could have got more. But yeah, with him as well, he's still in my team, but it may be the last week or may actually be going this week as well. Isak already talked about. João Pedro is getting frustrated, right? I'm not going to pretend that I keep saying that he's a great pick, but he's blanking. If people want to sell him, sell him. Like even for me, I plan to bench him a lot of the upcoming weeks, maybe apart from Southampton. I don't plan to play him a lot. There is this element which I'm buying into, which is the fact that Brighton play better against better teams. So therefore, as a rotation option with his good fixtures, maybe it doesn't make sense. So you either just play him, trust him and play him, or you just don't trust him and never play him and keep him on your bench or sell him. So I get it if people are getting frustrated. Bruno less so. I don't get the Bruno hate. Maybe it's because people don't have the funds to get to him and they think they can do better with other players. Then I also understand. But for my team value, I think he's absolutely fine. If people don't have Haaland in Game Week 29, I think he'll be the best pick for captaincy. I know it sounds strange to say right now, but yeah, he's playing Leicester in Game Week 29. So I'll pretty much look to hold him until then, and after that, we'll see. We'll see where we go. And Chris Wood with a blank finally. Now I'm not celebrating it, but I was not expecting it, and I was basically 50-50 between starting Wood or Sarr, both blanked. So in the end, it didn't matter. I just think, look, tougher fixtures mean more blanks will come, whether you want to accept it or not. He's not superhuman. So he will blank in some games, especially in the tougher games. So I've also said goodbye to him. So time to first tell you guys, actually, like I do, with a little bit of a long-term view on why a double game week 25 is still possible. So I've talked about it in the past, but Legoman has done such a nice visual that I thought I should just talk about it. I'm sorry I'm taking up a little bit of the space of this chart, but I wanted to enlarge it. So you see the problem here is basically, if you look at this bottom below Southampton, you see these blocks under game week 29. That's the Carabao Cup final, that grey box. Then you have a grey box under game week. Hold on. Now you can see it. Now you see a grey box under Game Week 34 and you see a grey box underneath Game Week 37. So Game Week 34 is the FA Cup semi-final and the Game Week 37 is the FA Cup final. Now, in most cases, why is nobody talking about double Game Week 37? It's because actually the midweek is free in Game Week 37. Except it's the Europa League final in the same week. So if Spurs make the Europa League final, and they make the FA Cup final, they will not be able to move the game. Now, you guys are listening and saying, guys, it's Spurs, man. Look at them. They're losing to Ipswich. I understand. But what I'm saying is, if the Premier League cannot have the view like you and me and say, yeah, man, it's Spurs. It doesn't matter. They could be proactive and say, if they reach the Carabao Cup final, which is where basically they go through against Liverpool, and they reach the FA Cup semi-final, and they reach the FA Cup final, or they don't have to reach, even Villa can reach because Villa are their opponents in Gameweek 37, then there's a problem because there's 3 postponed fixtures and only 2 windows to put them in, which is Gameweek 33 and Gameweek 36. That's where people are saying maybe they could be proactive and announce this double with the Fulham game, which would be postponed, into Gameweek 25. You see that with the pink movement here, the next to Gameweek 25. So this is just visually showing you guys why it is possible. Now, James from Planet FPL has also basically said that they could equally just move it to, you see this international break here after Gameweek 29. They could move it to just after that, which is the FA Cup quarterfinal. Even though the Premier League has committed not to have any clashing games or Premier League games with the FA Cup, but they may not have any choice. So they do have a fallback. They could just say, guys, you know what, it's Spurs. Let's see, even if they beat Liverpool, they may not. Let's say if they make the semi-final of the FA Cup, they may not. And if they do, then we'll just move the Fulham game to the FA Cup quarterfinal weekend. This is possible. So we will see if that's what ends up happening. But look out for news on Thursday or Friday, which is why I don't want to completely commit or go against a assistant manager chip. Because what will happen is, if that double happens, I want to play my assistant manager chip on David Moyes in 24 and then play it on Marco Silva in Gameweek 25, because Marco Silva will get table bonus for the Nottingham Forest at home game, and then he plays Spurs at home, man. I think both are good games. So basically with Everton, you get 1 table bonus game with Liverpool, and you get a home to Leicester game. And with Marco Silva, you get Nottingham Forest at home, which is a table bonus game, and you get Spurs at home, if the double moves. I'm at the moment not inclined to play the assistant manager chip because I think the likelihood of this happening is under 10%. But I need to talk to you guys about under 10% scenarios as well. So that was all that I wanted to say about future planning. Nothing else to think about right now. You already know the Liverpool doubles, how they happen. We'll talk about this more in the main pod. Let's talk about now Gameweek 24 a little bit. There are no market odds right now that... hold on, let me move my camera back. There we go. So there are no market odds right now that have come through, or at least not published by Rob. So I've just used the review odds again. So you see basically clean sheet odds. You have the different fixtures. So Liverpool's clean sheet odds against Everton are 42%. We've talked about 42% being a good number. So you have one good clean sheet fixture, and the other Bournemouth away game is 27%. So not amazing, but not bad as well. Like if you combine the chances of at least one clean sheet is basically, I mean, you know how to do the math. It's either they get in this or they get in this, or you can do 1 minus they get in neither, or both. Well, if they get both, that's also okay. So what I'm trying to say is it's not too bad if you're on double Liverpool defense. These are good clean sheet odds. I mean, combined, I would say this is more than half of 50% chance that they get one clean sheet over the 2 games. So that's not too bad. Getting both clean sheets is hard. I mean, I'm looking at, again, I'm trying to do this off the top of my head, but we're looking closer to like 15% maybe. But you know, it's 1 clean sheet and another appearance point is not a bad return for a defender. Everton have 40%, 39% clean sheet odds against Leicester. I like it. It's nice. And then when I was looking at this, I was like, man, Liverpool's clean sheet odds are almost the same as Everton's clean sheet odds in their easy fixture. Of course, in their tough fixtures, Everton are down there. Everton is what? 10% to keep a clean sheet against Liverpool. So you're basically getting no chance of a double 2 clean sheets, which no one expects anyway. Honestly, if you get 1, even that's fine. And then apart from that, there is not much in terms of clean sheet odds. Any other defender that you have, whether that's an Arsenal defender, whether that is a Newcastle defender, even Ipswich clean sheet odds are 30%. Not bad. So you can think about that. I still wouldn't play Greaves over an Arsenal defender, even though 3% more clean sheet odds. Then you have the scorer data. Now, it says expected goals per 90, but this is actually total expected goals. I think so. It cannot be expected goals per 90 for Salah for 2 games. So it's basically over the 2 games, Salah is expected to score 1.2. So people thinking about triple captaincy, this is good, right? I mean, what you're saying is 1.17. Let's say he gets 5 points for a goal. That's basically like 5.1 points. Not bad, right? And then you get 2 appearance points, so that's or 4, so that's 9. Maybe he gets a clean sheet, that's 10. He gets a bonus in one of the games, that's 13. Be happy with 13 points, man. So his expected will be around 10 to 13 points. Of course, you can get more. Of course, you can get less. But I think that's a good return for a triple captaincy. I don't think you should overthink it. Of course, you have names that are either injured or may not make it. This is based on a player playing X number of minutes. So if Darwin played 90 minutes, his expected output would be very, very high, or Jota, or DCL, or Beto. But I don't like it. Beto, of course, I don't like as an option because Everton are in the market for a striker now that DCL is injured. I mean, maybe they were in the market regardless. So you may just get the one game and then you may not get him again for the second game. And more importantly for Everton picks, you also want them for the home West Ham game in Gameweek 29. If he's not starting, then what's the point of getting him? And then Ndai, I think, should be higher. I don't think his pen share has been accounted for. So replace basically DCL with Ndai, maybe a little lower. So he's not a bad pick. I just think that the problem with Ndai is who is your other striker. If your other striker is Chris Wood or even a Gakpo, then fine, get him because then he can rot on your bench. If your other striker is now João Pedro, which would have been in my case, I would have to then play João Pedro every single week. So I'm less comfortable to do that, looking at his blanks and getting a little bit frustrated with him. So it's about team structure. I don't think Ndai is a very bad pick, but it really depends on who your other strikers are. Do you have 7 other good picks or good players that you can play regularly and you can hide Ndai on the bench? And the other issue is, again, if they sign a striker, then he may not be on pens the week that you need him again in Gameweek 29. So that's that. And then coming to Gakpo and Diaz. So Diaz actually has good expected goals. This is, again, review underlying data model. Eye test shows you that Diaz is not getting as much joy. He didn't have a single shot on target, even a shot in the game in which they scored 5 against Ipswich. That's not a good sign. But having said that, the game before that, he had 5 shots on goal, more than Gakpo. So people who have Diaz, I don't think you should start to panic and think, oh, I need to change him to a Gakpo, or I need to change. I think Diaz is fine. He's fine as an option. Gakpo is in form, and form is good. Form translates into little bit expected output, even though that is hard to quantify. But what it definitely does is it translates into minutes. Like, you can be sure that Gakpo is going to be starting the first game of the Premier League. He will get more minutes. He looks to be first choice because the better you do, the better you play, the more minutes you get. So that is good. And I will talk about it. Like I was last week, I wanted more information. And when I come to my team, I will tell you why I have no regrets not going for Gakpo last week. If you went there, congratulations, well done. That's your style of play, or that's what certain events led you to do. If you had a Solanke, if you had a Jackson, even if you had a Haaland. But if you didn't, it was okay to wait. So I'll talk about it when I come in the context of my team. Then you have the other guys, Isak, Palmer, Jackson, all of them are okay. Delap is actually pretty good this week. And then Bumo, you see, home to Spurs is higher than a Watkins away to Wolves, or even, I don't see a Haaland away to Arsenal, which is expected, or a Wood home to Brighton. So Bumo is good this week. Even he's higher than Gordon. So that's one move that I'm eyeing up, Gordon to Bumo. So it looks good from that perspective to actually go in this week. So let's do talk about my team. So basically, couple of things happened. So I decided to roll 4 free transfers last week. Why did I do that? Because I was thinking perhaps I should be looking at an Alisson, because Alisson is a good long-term pick. I talked about it in the podcast. I talked about it in my team selection. Well, guess what? Waiting another week for Raya got me the 9 points from Raya. Alisson got a blank. And now we got new information. The new information was that Fabianski was dropped again in the Everton game. The West Ham game. So that then means if you go for an Alisson and Fabianski combo, there is a good chance that you have no keeper in Gameweek 29. Because Alisson could blank if they make the Carabao Cup final, and Fabianski has lost his place, at least from what we know at this stage. So therefore, it became more natural, either you keep Raya or I go for Pickford. Now, why did I do Raya to Pickford? I will talk about it. Let me talk about the other moves first. So then the other thinking was Robinson was going for Mykolenko anyway, because any move that I was thinking about, I needed some funds because I was 0.0 in the bank. So to upgrade anyone, if Gordon needs to go to Bumo, I need money. If Gakpo needs to become Wood needs to become Gakpo, I need money. So basically that's the thinking, where I was like, I need funds released, and Robinson to Gakpo, Robinson to Mykolenko just sounded like a very good move. After this week, Trent plays, Gabriel plays, and Munoz plays. So I don't need Mykolenko until game week 29. That's the thinking anyway. So when Alisson is not an option, when I needed funds to go Robinson to Mykolenko, I couldn't have gone Konate, I guess Gakpo becomes the obvious choice. So while I like Gakpo, I was equally okay with Konate or Alisson, but sequence of events have basically led me to getting Gakpo. So now the issue was, if I went for Gakpo and I went Mykolenko, I need another 0.5 million, actually 0.3 million, to do Gordon to Mbumo. So where do I get that money? Raya to Pickford. So it's basically a domino effect of Alisson not being a pick and me needing money from the Robinson position that I have ended up with double Everton defense. Do I expect a lot? No. I expect 3 to 4 points. So if I get 3 to 4 points, not the end of the world. Mykolenko will hide on the bench. Playing Pickford week in, week out, it's, keeper gets save points as well. It's only until my second wildcard. It's fine. It's not that huge. I know it looks very radical on paper. He's playing double Everton defense against Liverpool. Would we go for Everton defense if they were not playing Liverpool in their second game or a double game week? No. The answer to all of that is no. Am I a little bit carried away with the double game week and Moyes' new manager bounce? Yes. But it's also got to do with me looking in the future and me looking at my future moves. So my future moves basically involve, now that I've got Pickford, Mykolenko, I've got Gakpo. So these 3 moves are done. Gordon to Mubo now have exact funds, 0.0. I will probably do it, but I will try to delay as much as possible because there could be injuries on Wednesday. Although there's a lot of dead rubbers on Wednesday. So I'm not expecting big injuries. Like I don't expect Salah to even start. Gakpo could start. It's his old club, but not more than like 50, 60 minutes. Trent, I don't expect to start. Gabriel, if he starts, gets injured. I have Munoz, so it's not the end of the world. Everton don't have a midweek fixture. Palmer doesn't play in Europe. Bruno is playing, so this is another reason to wait. Like if Bruno plays and gets injured, Bruno goes instead of Gordon. So I have thought about the scenarios a little bit, but I may be forced into moving if Mbumo is rising because I have exact funds. So then, in that case, the 4 moves would be Raya, Robinson, Gordon, and Chris Wood to Pickford, Mykolenko, Gakpo, and Mbumo. And I like Mbumo, by the way. The one thing that a lot of people don't realize is in game week 26, Liverpool are away to Man City. If you're comfortable captaining Salah away to Man City, fair enough. And maybe that's the right choice. But that same week, Palmer is away to Aston Villa. Guess who Mbumo plays? Leicester. He's away, but it may be that in game week 26, Mbumo is the best captain. So if you're not getting Mbumo now, you'll be getting Mbumo soon. This is why the thinking is just get him in the week that he plays Spurs. So that's basically all the thoughts around the team and why I'm doing all of this. And next week, I hope to do Sarr to a Bournemouth midfielder. If Sarr drops a couple of times and Kluivert rises a couple of times, then I may not be able to afford Kluivert, but that's fine. I'll get Semenyo, I'll get Otara. I would rather wait a week anyway to see if they sign anybody, if they sign a striker on loan. Does that striker take penalties? So is Kluivert still the guy? Tavernier is coming back. I don't mind a week of information, and then I'll pick if I have to pick between Semenyo and Otara, so be it. I know a lot of people are going for Kluivert, and he's absolutely great. But if I can't get there, I can't get there. I have to prioritize these 4 moves this week and then get the Bournemouth mid after they've played Liverpool. So that's it from me. If you liked this monologue and the ramble and why I have picked double Everton defense, then please like the video. I really appreciate your support. I know a lot of you have subscribed already, but if you haven't, if you're new, then we would really appreciate a subscribe as well. Thank you for joining. Good luck for the double game week.